My name is Throckmorton, and I own Harris Sons Septic. We do pump outs, septic inspections, riser installations, camera services, repairs, and new install. We take your with a smile 7 days a week.
Perfect.
Sweet.
All right, one more.
So 2 years ago, we were running a contractor business, and I was teaching school. And we decided to build a barn for a guy that was in the septic industry. He was from Durham. He had been in the septic industry for 40 years. My ex-husband had been doing contracting work for 40 years, and it was really hard finding help or finding anybody that could breathe and hold a hammer. So while we were doing this, they kind of got to talking, and Scotty Pierce from Scotty Septic Tank Service told us, hey, you need to buy a septic truck. So Joe kind of came home with me with the idea, and I told him, heck no, we ain't running no septic business. But then later on throughout the week and stuff, I kind of did my research, and I said, well, maybe we ought to run a septic business. COVID was happening. I was pregnant with our third child, so I said, okay, we'll do it. Let me look for a truck. Let me see what we need to do it. Ended up January of 2020 taking the class you have to take to get your permit in Carolina, and by June and July, I had my septic truck financed from Denver. I found my septic truck in Denver, Colorado, financed it, and had it sitting in the driveway. Got it lettered in August and was ready to roll. I had resigned from my teaching position, and we just kind of dived right in. We ended up expanding pretty quickly from running from Carolina to running in Virginia also, because we were on the borderline of both states. I went and did septic inspection school in North Carolina and ended up being a licensed septic inspector. Got my master alternative license in Virginia, and we've been running both states for 2 years. I know how it is to be waiting on somebody when you need something. I know how it is to be on the other side, and I always try to put myself in their shoes, because when a septic emergency happens, you need help like right now. And I know how stressful that can be. So I try to make it as easy on my customer as possible, to not only from calling and making them feel better, to doing a great job and making sure they're satisfied at the end. Being a female in the industry helps me out a lot, because I know how females feel when they call a male-dominated industry about something they might not know a lot about. They get really nervous. And I feel like when I answer the phone and I'm able to explain everything from point A all the way to the end of the job before it even gets started, that really puts them at ease. And so I think me being able to take that time with my customer and create a relationship with my customer before we even show up helps ease their mind from the time that we pull up and do a great job. If they're there, we explain everything from start to finish. And if we see a problem, we can explain how they can fix it, give them tips and tricks, to keep their septic healthy. And explain, if there is a problem, what's going on, what they need to do next. I think that kind of helps a ton with my customer. I always take a lot more time with the communication aspect, because I know for a fact I have to call other pumpers when I run different areas and stuff, and sometimes when you call them, they sound like a grizzly bear. So when I get called, I try to always be, open, honest, friendly, just to make sure that my customer feels comfortable from the start. I don't want them to feel, at all, any kind of tension. So I think that kind of helps a ton. When it comes to coming out to a job, I've had, challenging customers, but not many at all, because I think I do such a good job from explaining everything from start to finish and answering their questions and stuff ahead of time, so there's no, and then keeping up with them. I think a big thing is what time you're going to be there, because some of them want to be there. So I'm really good about texting, hey, we're on our way, hey, we might be behind. And because I'm upfront about communication and have really good communication with the customer, I think that really helps our customer satisfaction. And I think that's probably why we got 65 five-star reviews in less than 2 years. Besides doing a great job, that helped a ton too. But I think with the communication, and then even after we get paid and go, I'm always kind of following up, and I'll send them if they want to do a review or they want to do something to help us, and they'll ask for the Google review link, and I'll send it to them and say, hey, if you really want to help me out, shoot me a review. And that helps a ton. So for me to keep up with everything, I'm really big, and it's the teacher in me, is to do tons of research about my industry. So I constantly stay, read Pumper Magazine. Read Pumper Magazine. I've got a subscription actually to Pumper, Installer, and the Porta-John magazine. But going online, keeping up with all the regulations. I do continuing ed every year. They have conventions that we like to go to every year. I think this year is my first year that I'm going to be able to go to the actual wet show in Indianapolis. So that helps us kind of keep up with all the new stuff because they'll have all the stuff in the convention hall, and they have also more continuing ed classes. But a big thing that I like to do for my business to keep up with everything, inspector-wise, is to keep up with the technology, and that's why I bought my Insight Visions camera. It's American-made from Wisconsin because I like to keep everything in America. It really upgraded me from my other camera because now I'm able to do recordings. I'm able to, it's a self-leveling, so when I'm going into the line, you don't have to worry about it staying upside down once you get into the D-box. Using that camera allows me to not have to take the time to actually dig a D-box up with my excavator, so it saves time. I'm able to inspect the inside of the outgoing line, so the integrity, if you've got a pinch or something, like I'm going to catch it because I'm sliding right down that line. When I get into the D-box, I'm able to check out the water level, the root level, if it's a ton of sludge, if the box is dry. I can see cracks. I can see if it's caved. I can see if it's working. I can run a water hose and make sure those lines are taking water appropriately, and all without having to dig up a very fragile D-box. So that helps my business, especially with my inspections, a ton, because one, it's quicker, two, it's safer, and three, like for the repair-wise, I don't want to dig something that's super fragile up that's very easily to break in the first place if it's working perfectly. And the best way to see if it's working perfectly is just like the water goes down. Like, I mean, bird's eye view, like water's going down, you can see everything from right there and not have to tear anybody's yard up. And the main thing with that, especially with inspections, inspections are for like homes you're selling normally. So what seller is going to want you to come out and dig a crater in their yard because your D-box is going to be deeper than your septic tank? Who wants to have a big old crater in a yard where they're trying to sell the house? You want to keep everything nice. So with that camera, it's so much less invasive, less time consuming, and really it's more accurate because you're able to see the D-box working in real time. It's not like you're digging it up and just pulling the cap off and saying, okay, yeah, okay, no. You're the water, you can see. And I mean, that's really all you need. You know if water's going to the drain field appropriately, and that gives me everything I need with a nice view. I can record it, put it on a jump drive, send it right with my inspection report, along with all the other pictures from my report, and it makes a nicer, I think, setup. And when I pay for something like that, like I want to get something back, and so instead of me just writing, okay, it passes on a piece of paper, for them to have the entire form and the entire report, and then some video footage, and then pictures, I feel like they're getting more for their money. And then like the customer or the buyer sees it and buys it, they can actually see it. So I think it just gives you more, I would say, like, evidence that it's working, rather than just hey, here you go with my name and my number on it, you know? For me, I think the septic industry is a huge industry. Yes, it's male-dominated, but I think women can come in, and I'm proof that women can come in and do the same thing and also do a great job at it. So I really believe that women should really think and pursue, more jobs in the wastewater industry, whether it's running a nice pumper truck or working in a wastewater facility or running a porta-john truck. There's plenty of room for all of us, and we can all do a great job.